Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Barry from Moss Pawn and Gun, and we have another gun gripe for you. Last week's episode was number 50, so we're 50 gun gripes into this series. Basically, if you don't know, we post one of these every week, and it's been a very successful series, and we appreciate you guys' support in that endeavor. You know, we really tried to keep these subjects kind of rolling along. We've been thinking about what number 51 would be, and we've decided that we're going to talk about kids and guns. That's a very touchy subject, and it's something that always kind of gets brought up in a negative manner. It's usually negative more than it's a positive thing, because people are always try to basically relate children to guns in a way that makes us look irresponsible or makes adults look irresponsible. And basically we're just going to kind of hit on some of those points and our opinions about that matter.
Well, when I was a child, guns were sporting equipment. Plain and simple, sporting equipment. Now they've been demonized over the last couple of generations, and people try to protect their child from danger or getting into trouble by hiding things from them. Like, I had a fella come in yesterday, this little girl about 8 years old, I believe, was severely mauled by 3 pit bulls over here in DeKalb County, I believe it was, and he said that his children were in the car when they were talking about it. He said, I turned the radio off. I didn't want my kids to hear about that. Well, they need to know the dangers of that. You're not going to protect your child by concealing dangerous objects from them. You have to teach them about it.
And children are curious.
That's
by
right.
nature. They're always going to find some way to seek out whatever you've hidden from them. So the best thing to do, especially when it's related to guns, is always to train your children on the proper use of guns, train your children on safety. If anything, even if you don't train your children how to shoot, at least train them on the fact that guns can be dangerous, and teach them, you know, don't touch this, stay away from this, you know. I know children are curious, and they're always going to, you know, be nosy about that sort of thing. But
well, we did a video a while back called Your Child's First Firearm, and we got mostly positive response to that, but we got some negative. We got some negative stuff. But the fact of the matter is, you can find out how responsible a child is by taking them shooting somewhere.
that's right.
I can take a child as young as 8 years old to the range and do a gun class with that child, as long as the parent is there. And the ones that I've taken have been very mature. I know some 8 or 9 year olds that are very mature people.
That's
I
right.
would trust them with almost anything.
And I know a lot of 8 or 9 year old children that know a hell of a lot more guns than some of these adults do.
They sure
And
do.
see, the thing about children that I guess kind of makes me feel proud overall is that, you know, kids are, to some degree, they will learn things, they will, you know, seek out knowledge, and that's why resources like YouTube are such a handy thing. I would like to think that we've posted videos that are extremely educational and helpful. And I mean, I get kids that call me up on the phone that are, you know, 12, 15 years old, however old, and they'll call from all over the country, and they'll say, you know, hey, I love this type of gun, and they'll go into like talking about the features and the variants of that gun, and it really, you know, makes me feel proud to know that there's kids out there that seek that knowledge out, and they try to learn everything they can. You know, their minds are like little sponges that just soak up all the knowledge they can get a hold of, and that's what you want. You know?
But you have to teach your kids about them. I mean, you cannot hide society from your children. We've had people come in here. We're a gun side over here and a pawn side on the other side. And they might be over there. The parent may be doing a pawn deal, and the kid will wander down here. Get back over here. Get back over here. Get away from those guns. I don't want you down there.
That's right.
But like this is going to infect them somehow, and it's not going to do that. It's not going to do that. Either you're a responsible human being or you're not. The problem with the country now is we have a lack of parenting altogether.
That's right.
When I was a child, if we got in trouble up the street, Mom and Dad knew about it before I got home.
That's right. You know, there's a lack of parenting, but I think also the problem is that there's a lack of people taking responsibility for their actions.
That's true, too.
And a lot of parents blame society as a whole, and they blame the schools, they blame TV, they blame video games for the way their kids turn out. But what they really don't blame is themselves. I mean, because ultimately the adult is responsible for raising that child and teaching them right from wrong. Now, when it comes to teaching kids about shooting, I mean, I think that kids should start at a very young age learning about guns. The one bit of advice that I can give in my experience from teaching children how to shoot is that keep it entertaining. Don't start them out on paper targets. Start them out on stuff like Coke cans, pop cans, soup cans.
Reaction.
Something that they can see react. They're going to learn a lot quicker, and they're going to stay interested in it for a
That's
lot
right.
longer.
Right.
So that's my suggestion is, teach them the fundamentals, teach them proper trigger control, most importantly, teach them safety, muzzle discipline. That's a very important thing to start kids out at a young age, is to make sure that their muzzle discipline is impeccable. Of course, teaching them keep their finger off the trigger till they're ready to shoot. All of the fundamentals of safe shooting should be, driven in at a very early age. And from a standpoint of what they actually shoot at, again, I think, reactive targets are always a fun way to get kids, really enjoying shooting sports.
But Ted Nugent made a statement once. He said if a child doesn't get started shooting by the time they're about 8 or 9 years old, they probably won't ever, or either they don't learn it at an early. You need to start them at an early age
That's right.
to get them interested in it, because that's where responsibility starts.
Well, responsibility starts at that age, but also the thing to consider too is that it's also, we're living in a different society now than when people like Ted grew up. And even people that are like in your age range and people that, the older generations, when they were growing up, you would go to the carnival and you'd see Model 62 gallery guns
real
on the counter,
gun.
and you
Right.
could shoot real guns at the carnival. Or they would hold, a shooting class at the school where a cop or somebody would come out and give a demonstration of different guns and how they work, and that was common back then. But of course now, the idea of anything being taught about guns in schools completely off the map. I mean, you're not going to see that anymore.
When I was in high school, we had a rifle team that fired
That's right.
real rifles.
Yeah, me too. Right.
And real guns.
Yeah, I mean, I remember having, for rifle team, having your 22s in the car. Yeah. And after school, you go to the rifle bay and practice. I mean, it wasn't a big deal.
No.
But see, now it's just what the schools are trying to, teach or basically indoctrinate into the child's mind is that guns are bad, and that, people that use guns are bad, and even to want to gather knowledge about guns in itself is a bad thing. They're trying to demonize gun ownership across the board in every way they can. And of course, part of that involves restricting and basically just filling their kids' heads full of crap.
I would be willing to bet if a child was caught with a guns and ammo magazine at school, they'd probably be suspended
Well, they do.
for
They
just
do.
having the magazine.
The whole point of this video is that we want to drive home the fact that we think, children should be exposed to guns at an early age. They should be taught right from wrong in every walk of their existence with their relationship with their parents. They should be taught right from wrong, but especially when it involves firearms. There's nothing wrong with getting kids into shooting at an early age. I think it's a great idea. I probably fired my first round when I was like 6 years old.
Right.
I've been
Same
shooting
here.
since I was 6.
Same here.
So, I think 6 is probably not too early of an age. Of course, with, you're not just going to turn your kids loose with a gun at 6.
No.
But with, close adult supervision, there's nothing wrong with letting kids pop a few rounds at that age. I mean,
That's right.
I had my first pellet gun when I, was probably 5. I was barely old enough to hold one. I had a pellet gun.
Well, if you take a small kid's rifle like a Henry Mini Bolt or a Chipmunk rifle, and you put the Aguila Super Calibres in it, it's no more powerful than a powerful pellet gun.
Right.
And you can teach them that with that, and it makes no noise.
That's
The
right.
child can learn how to shoot.
They don't have to worry about flinching from recoil. They don't have to worry about louder noises. It takes all of those elements out and is strictly down to the fundamentals, trigger squeeze, breath, all of that good stuff.
What we're saying, if your child shows no interest in shooting, that's fine and dandy. But on the other hand, if your child does show interest in it, you need to put effort into that, teaching that child everything that you can.
That's right.
And you have to be responsible too. You have to set an example.
That's right.
If you tell the child, watch where that muzzle's going, and that kid turns around and the muzzle is pointing at them and you're holding it, that's not going to teach them anything. You have to teach them strict rules.
You have to teach them by example.
Example.
And that's the important thing.
Right.
So, if this gun gripe, is one of those things, and it is a gripe, because you just see so much of the media, they demonize gun ownership, they demonize people that teach their kids about guns, they demonize the idea of kids having guns. Sure, Junior doesn't need to be toting a high point to school.
Right.
Okay, of course not.
Right.
But just because Junior wants to look at a guns and ammo mag at school, is that really a big deal? Or because Junior wants to look up pictures of guns on the internet at school? That is a type of offense that they will suspend a child over looking at gun photos at school.
They will. They'll do that.
I don't see what the big deal is.
Well, it's sending the wrong message to the other children in the classroom is what the way the administration looks at it. But the administration, you know, when I was in school, we had prayer every morning, we Pledge of Allegiance. All that was done away in my lifetime. They don't do that anymore. You can't do that. Children at least bonded in the morning when we said the Lord's Prayer or whatever we did or whatever we had to do, pledge allegiance to the flag. That's what we were, you might want to say we were indoctrinated. But it's part of the socialization of a child. So, you know.
Teaching you to get along with other
right,
people.
right.
You know, teaching you to find a common ground with the people around you. And that, you know, I'm not saying that that's something that's missing in today's society, but I would definitely say it's a contributing factor. I mean, they're trying to do away with that. I mean, part of school in general is to teach you. It's not about learning so much as it's about teaching you how to mesh in a
Right.
society.
Right.
How to get along with people in an organized group, in an organized society. And that's what school teaches mainly is those skills, getting along with people.
Right.
And I think that gun ownership is an important thing in that. I mean, people can't just be turned loose into society after high school if that's what the route they decide to go, and then just be taught that, oh, well, all guns are bad and you should stay away from them. That's not a healthy transition into society.
No, it isn't.
So, you know,
But
I think kids should be involved in guns. And
Yeah, but we got some real good gun gripes coming up here in the future, and some gun facts, and we're going to be having some fun. And Eric and I, and Ray, and everybody's got a lot of stuff that you're really going to enjoy, and you're really not going to believe it.
well, this upcoming Shoot Your Stuff video is going to be crazy. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything else, but let's just say we got rid of quite a bit of ordnance in that video, so I think you guys are going to like it.
All right,
Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
you too. Bye bye.